Hello, Tucson. Welcome to Mineral City TV. This is our third installment today, coming at you live from Building B in Mineral City. We started off the day showing you some American minerals, then we showed you some Mexican minerals. Now we're going to go to Australia. We're going to meet Adam Wright, owner of the Adelaide mine, famous for its crocoite deposits. Let's go on and have him take a look. Hi, Adam.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for being on the show. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your business?
Basically, we took over the Adelaide mine lease in 2004 and we've been mining ever since then. During that time, we've managed to find a few reasonably good pockets, and crocoite is very popular here in Tucson, so we bring it over here. And
it's popular for a reason. As you can see, the beautiful, beautiful specimens all over behind me. I have heard that you have figured out a new way to clean this mineral to make it less damage, let's say, during the cleaning process.
Well, it's a matter of, in 2010 we found a big pocket that had some very big crystals in it, and it had a coating of a mineral called gibbsite on the surface of it. So you could see that they were really nice crystals, but the colour was a brownish colour rather than the nice red that we were after.
Sure.
So with much experimentation, we found that we could clean the gibbsite off using phosphoric acid, and basically that removes the gibbsite and reveals the colour and lustre that's hidden underneath.
Yeah, that's great.
And that made the world of difference to the pocket.
I bet trying to clean them with a water gun or any other process probably just destroyed them.
That is correct. Basically, they are very fragile. The hardness is only 2.5 to 3, so they're very soft. But then, due to the fine nature of a lot of the crystals, that makes them even more delicate. And so, yes, minimal, if any, contact will cause damage.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but the other thing that we learnt through the period was, at home, it's a in Tasmania, it's a very humid place. So I would get the specimens cleaned and dried, and they'd be nice and stable and strong. I brought a shipment over to Tucson, where it's very dry and arid. What was a rock at home became a handful of dirt over here.
Wow.
So we learnt very early on that we have to actually stabilise the matrix, which is just using a water-soluble PVA glue, and that goes into the rock, dries and hardens, and just keeps the rocks from being friable. So that, again, also made a lot of difference to the specimens.
Oh, great.
Made them a lot more robust than what they historically have been.
Great thinking, no, for sure. So America's panning across some of your material over there. Tell us a little bit about what he's showing us.
Most crocoite, when it forms, it basically is formed from water flow. You've got lead and chromium in solution flowing down through the ground, and if it encounters the right conditions, it can precipitate out as crocoite. And that's actually the rare factor. Lead and chromium occur together around the world in many, many places, but there are only very few places where the conditions are present for those two minerals to be able to bond together as crocoite. Russia was the first place it was found. It's been found in maybe 15 places since then, but most of them are very small quantities of no consequence, whereas Tasmania has by far the biggest and the best in the world.
Absolutely, that's definitely where it's known from.
Yeah, and what happens is when that solution percolates down through the ground and finds those conditions, it crystallises as crocoite. Commonly, it completely fills the pocket. So you end up with a solid interlocked vein or chunk of crocoite,
Massive.
which is basically the material that you were just looking at, and it's what we call commercial grade crocoite. Great colour, great lustre, and it's nice and robust, but it doesn't have those free growing
elongated
crystals, needles, which the collectors are generally looking for. But
still beautiful.
It's much easier to handle, it's still pretty, and collectors still admire it, and lots of people buy it, but it's only rarely that you get to the open spaces where the collector grade specimens and museum grade specimens come.
Well, I'm standing here in front of all these just absolutely amazing specimens here. Can you just take a second and maybe show us a couple?
Yeah, certainly. Well, we've got one here that's a rather large piece that came from a pocket called the Upper Red River.
You can see how big these crystals are next to his hand. They're just huge.
And you'll also notice that the crystals on this piece are hollow. Not always, but it tends to be the bigger the crystals, the more
larger the diameter.
the more likelihood that they are to be hollow. It's not always the case, but it is a common occurrence at the Adelaide mine in particular.
And just one more thing to make them a little more fragile.
Yes, exactly. And this actually came from the roof of a large pocket where it was hanging upside down from the roof. And there was only three pieces left in this pocket. And when I say big pocket, it was meters long by meters high. You could walk into it.
Sure.
And there was three pieces up in the roof. During the life of a pocket, the crokites grow on the walls. The crokites got bigger and heavier. The walls get weaker. So by the time we went into this pocket, it was all gone. It had all fallen down during the life of the pocket. There was only these three pieces that still remained up in the roof.
It's an incredible piece. I guess one question everyone would have would be, how do you transport, this type of material or even ship it safely?
When it's big and heavy like this, we need to put them in a big plastic container nested with soft plastic so that there's no vibration or shocking. And as long as it doesn't move around in the container and it remains up the right way, it'll travel fine. With smaller specimens, we developed the technique of gluing them into a little Perspex box. And so that is actually safe to handle upside down. And this enables me to post them around the world. Basically, I can surround these with soft plastic, put them in a box, more soft plastic into a bigger box, and then that will ship safely all the way around the planet.
Always a box inside a box. I ship a lot too. Always got to do the box inside the box.
Shock proofing is the important thing.
Absolutely.
I can survive that.
Sure.
But if I jar that hard enough, bits will fall off it. And when I do send things, we actually have a replacement policy. So if something arrives damaged, I'll either send a replacement or a refund less than postage.
I'm sure that makes everyone feel a little bit better.
Well, it's just...
It's the nature of the material.
Exactly.
So sometimes just a vibration, can set it up.
And I'd rather, I've got plenty of crokites, so I can send another one, whereas I don't want people to be out of pocket because they're purchased from me.
Sure, no, absolutely.
And you can actually see these specimens on our website, theadelaidemine.com.
Great.
Although having said that, all of the specimens that are currently on the website are here in the display cases.
Well, that being said, let's take a look at a few more here, because they're just outstanding specimens. I've never seen any quite this good in person.
It is a bit of an overload for most people. You come in here and you've seen one or two crokites, and then you come in and you see display cases full of it, and
it's different.
It's more than most people can comprehend.
And Merrick, if you come up here on this top shelf, we've got a couple really special pieces. Can you tell us about this one and the one over there just a little bit?
The one on the right-hand side, for reasonably obvious reasons, is called the pirate ship, because basically when you get the right angle on it, it looks like a pirate ship in profile.
I know everyone really likes the bright colors. I actually kind of really enjoy this color here, the more rust colored look to it. I really enjoy that one a lot.
That's an example of one where we did not bath it to remove the gibbsite. Commonly what happens, crokite grows until it gets a stain or imperfection on it. And that will inspire a new generation of crokite to grow off that stain or imperfection. So those crystals start growing and get bigger until they get a stain or imperfection. And we've had specimens with up to 7 different generations of growth within them. That particular piece has got about 3 generations of growth. I could have bathed it and removed some of the coating, but those later generations are commonly attached by the gibbsite. And half of the aesthetics of that piece
are the little pieces,
the little crystals
coming off the big crystals.
Exactly. So I did not bath it. The one in the middle, for example, though, that one we call the pineapple. That one, when it was underground, was snow white, except for the dark brown around the base. When I've bathed it, the white came off brilliantly and revealed the colour underneath. The brown gibbsite, which probably had some iron manganese in it of some kind, is resistant to the acid and didn't clean off. But it actually provides nice contrast.
The contrast is great. Also the luster on that one is really outstanding.
Unfortunately, what happens is when the gibbsite coats onto the crokite, the thicker the gibbsite, the more it etches the surface of it. So you can sort of see with a piece that came from the gibbsite pocket, this had very thick gibbsite on it. It's removed it and revealed the colour, but it's very dull in comparison to those that have not had a coating. The pineapple's got what I would call mid-luster. It's shiny, but it's not as shiny as, say, some of the new pieces that we've just got, which had absolutely no coating on it. And they demonstrate how good the luster can be.
All right, well, let's take a look at a couple of the newer pieces then.
Okay, well...
Since you said that.
Since I've talked about it, I'll show this one to start with. And that's basically the biggest, best piece from a pocket we called the Surprise Pocket, which we found in October last year. And the reason we called it the Surprise Pocket is basically I've been walking past this piece of wall for about the last 5 years, and just this particular day I decided to have a bit of a scratch into the wall, and within minutes I broke into this particular pocket, which would have been about the size of a basketball, I suppose, overall.
Wow.
Unfortunately, a lot of the pocket was vein style, so it was interlocked and it was not possible to recover it intact. But this one, thankfully, this piece boarded onto an open space.
Beautiful
so
large crystals.
You have the large crystals with the nice, sharp, lustrous terminations. As I say, probably the best colour and lustre, definitely that I've ever found, but...
And you didn't have to wash this at all?
It's been dipped in water and that's it.
Wow.
So it's the best,
That's
easiest
impressive.
to handle.
That's impressive.
And least work involved with
Wow.
collecting it.
Thank you for showing us that.
And then we go to this particular piece. And this one, when I took it out from underground, you would not have even recognised it. It was basically a black, lumpy, ugly rock with the sort of a hint that there was crocite underneath, but you could barely tell. After bathing it, it basically, as you can see, turned from a black ugly duckling
There are just
into...
there's thousands of crystals coating the surface here.
Yeah, going in all
It's
directions.
amazing.
Quite large crystals. And yeah, you've got your radiating nature. To me, it's reminiscent of two crowns. You've sort of got a...
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, he's handling the specimens during this episode of the show, unlike the last couple episodes where I got to hold some. I don't want to touch these. So let's put that away, and we'll...
No, well, that's the beauty of the boxes. It makes
yeah, the
them
beauty.
so
yeah,
much easier
the boxes
to handle.
were a tremendous idea and make it so much easier not only to move them around but display them too, because dust getting in there can't be good.
It's very easy to dust a box. It's not so easy to dust a specimen.
That makes a lot of sense. All right, well, Adam, thank you so much for joining us. And we are in room B14 in building B, obviously. I want to thank everyone for joining us for our second day of Mineral City TV. It's been a blast. We got to meet 3 dealers today. Join us again tomorrow at 11 a.m. Mountain Time. Thank you.